Good day, everyone. How are we all doing? I hope we are all fine, and I welcome you to ESM 242. So this is our second topic for the semester. So as I said in the last class, that our next class will be on SPSS applications. SPSS applications. So we'll be considering how it's applicable to estate management. How is applicable to estate management? So by way of introduction, the word SPSS, I know is not something new to us. It might be new to us in terms of application, but I'm very sure we've heard about what SPSS is all about. Will you either in statistics or basically in statistics? I know you might have been hearing SPSS. So the is an acronym, and the full meaning is statistical package. Statistical package for the social sciences. Statistical package for the social sciences. And this is a software package. This is a software package and is basically used for data entry, management, analysis, and visualization. It is basically used for what? Data entry, management, analysis, and visualization. So when we are talking about data entry, it is expected of us to know that, oh, in a way, all this that we've highlighted is attributed to what? Research. Because when you're talking about research, then you'll be thinking of collection of data. How am I going to manage the data that I've collected? How am I going to arrange them? How am I going to present them? The data that I collected, what am I doing with it? Definitely, you are going to be analyzing the data. And after analyzing your data, what do? You present it. There must be a presentation. So the presentation come in form of what? Visualization. Like what is now abstract, what is now just one you've been counting is now coming in as what? As a reality. They are making it look realistic to you. They are making it look realistic to you. And for just like to have a broader view of what we are talking about, SPSS originally it was developed basically for social science research. It was basically for what? For social science research. So now it is no longer limited to social sciences anymore. So this now cuts across both, even in businesses, in health sector, in education, in fact, in estate management. In estate management, we'll notice that now everybody now do research. Everybody is now finding out one thing or the other. Everybody is now looking for data here and there to what? To analyze and to what? And to present. So in your mind, don't let it be just no, it is only meant for social sciences. No. So this application per se is a what? Is a software package. Is a software package. So this leads us to why estate managers need SPSS. Why are we even going into SPSS? Why are we bringing it into our course? We are bringing into estate management because estate management involves what? Data-driven decisions. Anything we want to decide, anything we want to work on, we must have what? Data to work with. That is why we are deploying SPSS into what? Into asset management. And we use it in various areas such as housing, land use, tenancy, property investment, and valuation. So generally, we can say that SPSS is useful for estate managers because number one, it helps in organizing and what analyzing data. It helps in organizing what and analyzing data. For example, our property prices, our tenant survey, that is what we use them for. Our property prices, our tenant surveys, it is used. SPSS help us to what? Have a coordinated portfolio. With SPSS in asset management, it helps you to have a what? A coordinated portfolio. And also what? It produces a reliable statistical results. And this statistical result, what do we use this for? We use it for decision making. Every result being produced by SPSS is basically used for what? For decision making. Oh, how are we doing as a firm? How is our portfolio doing? How is this property performing? Basically, is used for what? Decision making. And also it help us to, present even our outcomes in what? In visual. The interpretation of SPSS in whatever thing we input there help us to what? Create a visual presentation of our data, which can be in form of charts, tables, and graphs. Also, SPSS has also helped estate managers to what? To forecast trend. It has helped us to what? Forecast trend in housing, land uses, and investment. Probably you are looking at, oh, which kind of properties do students of University of Ibadan, what kind of property are they going for, or what kind of property are they even occupying, so that to form your own decision that, oh, I should be able to I should be able to invest in this kind of property. How do you form your decision in that aspect? You form your decision by what? You form your decision by getting data, carry out a research. Oh, from 200 level to maybe 500 level, you draft a questionnaire for collection of data, distribute it around. Oh, which kind of property do you occupy? Is it a room self-con? Is it mini flat? Is it 3 bedroom? So in a way, it forms your what? That the result you get will now form the basis of your what? Of your investment. Which one am I investing into? Which one am I going into? So SPSS is a useful tool for us to analyze and to what? To forecast, especially in housing and what? And investment trends. So generally, let's look at how SPSS environment looks like. How does SPSS environment looks like? I know the last class we dealt with AutoCAD. I was able to tell you how AutoCAD environment is. So the same thing is applicable to SPSS also. SPSS is an environment. And what do I mean by environment? Interface. Interface, which shows that, oh, if I see SPSS being displayed, can I even recognize it? If I see SPSS being used, can I even say, oh, I think I've been taught something like this. So probably by the time we go into our practical aspect, then you'll be able to see the real interface. You'll be able to see the real interface, because I know SPSS software is not something we can find anywhere. It's not something you can find anywhere. It is always, I think people buy it, then install it on system. So it's not something you can find anywhere, because it's a tool that people use. So it's not just everywhere. So the first thing that will come to our mind is our data view. The first one that will come to our mind in terms of SPSS environment is what? Is our data view. That is where we are going to be imputing our raw data. And what are those data? They can be responses from tenants, or property records, that is where they are entered. And it is always in rows and column. It is always in what? In rows and column. For example, individual tenants and properties, definitely. If you have an idea of how Excel interface is, you will notice that okay, Excel has a what? A row and a column. The same thing with SPSS also. It has a data view where you can enter your what? Your raw, where you can enter your raw data. It also has variable views. It also have variable view where variable are what? They are defined. Where variable are defined. For example, we can have variables like the rent, which can be in scale. They can say, okay, choose your rent. They can also probably below 150,000, tick. Between 150 and 200, 200 and 250. Definitely, it will be in scale. It will be in scale. And another variable is you can have location. You can have location. You can have the name. You can have the type of the property. You can have you can even have a space for tenant's view in terms of what? Satisfaction. In terms of what? Satisfaction. Then the last interface here is the output viewer. Output viewer. So we can also liken this output viewer to be what? To be visualization. This visualization. After you might have imputed your data, your variable, and then you run it through SPSS, definitely is going to bring a presentation to you. It's going to give you an interpretation of everything that has been imputed. And in most cases, the result is always displayed in what? Either in tabular form, in charts, or in text. Either in tabular form, in charts, or in what? In text. So this is the way results are being displayed when we are relating it with what? With SPSS software. When we are relating with SPSS software. So this leads us to the application of software in estate management. How do we even apply it? I said before now that SPSS in estate management is used for what? Is used for data entry. So don't be shocked that even estate managers collect what? They collect data from survey. They collect data from survey, from valuation reports, from sensors, from housing recording. They collect data. You can collect data even on socio-economic characteristics of tenants. You can. You want to measure satisfaction. You want to measure client awareness about anything. We make use of what? SPSS. SPSS for data entry. For example, gender, which can be male or female, housing type, is it an apartment? Is it bungalow? Is it duplex? So if a proper coding is done, it will make your analysis to be what? To be smooth. If your proper coding is done, it will make your analysis to be what? It make your analysis to go to be smooth. Then which area do we use SPSS in estate management? We use it in descriptive statistics. In descriptive statistics. What do I mean by this? SPSS helps us also to summarize and describe property market data. So now, if anybody is coming up with a result of, oh, this is the market trend in this area, oh, this is the rent passing in this area, this is the annual income in this area, this is the capital value in this area of this so property, it shows that the person has made use of what? SPSS to analyze some data using what? Descriptive. Descriptive helps you to summarize whatever you might have entered. For example, under descriptive, it can help you to what? Get average rent in different neighborhoods. It helps you to get what? Average rent in different neighborhoods. And also, what are the things it summarizes? It also helps in what? Distribution of land size, even in an estate. And this is what property developers use to make their work was seamless, to make their work was very comfortable, very comfortable. No mudding up, no assigning a plot to two people. You notice that there won't be land dispute. Everything will go on well. Will go on well. And another example is percentage of tenant satisfaction with facilities. You know, I said it earlier. If you want to measure their performance, just collect data and run it through SPSS. Before you know it, after running it, it will display for you. It will display for you either in, I said it earlier, either as a table, as a chart, as a what again. The presentation is always fantastic. The visualization is always good. And when running this code under descriptive, it's running through frequency and percentages. It's running through frequency and percentages. That is why you can say, okay, 50%, you can see 50%, you can see this one has higher frequency than the other one. In fact, under descriptive, that is where you have your mean, median, mode. And what are these used for? Basically to find what average of what? Of property price, or average of property rent, as the case may be. Then we also use dispersion. So this talks about what? Our standard deviations, our variance, our range. And why are we using this? Why are we using this descriptive tools? We are using it to find what? The variability in rent prices. Why are we having in fact, we even use this in valuation, where we have variance in what where we have different opinion of value on a certain property. We use descriptive tool for it also. Then another aspect where we use SPSS is in inferential statistics. So notice that managers rather, they often need to test hypotheses. In testing your hypothesis, they make predictions, they compare groups. So in a situation that you want to make predictions, probably you want to forecast, in a situation whereby you want to predict, you want to compare groups, what do you use? You use what? Inferential statistics. So what are the tools under this inferential statistics? Number one, we have our t-test. And what does our t-test do? It helps to what? Compare average rent between two areas. Probably you want to compare between Ikoyi and maybe Lekki Phase 1. You can even compare between Lekki Phase 1 and Lekki Phase 2. So when you are comparing, what do you use? You make use of your what? Of your t-test. And also, we have another tool called ANOVA. When you are trying to compare property value across multiple neighborhoods. When you are comparing, you know, the first one, the t-test compares what? Just in two areas. But ANOVA does what? Compares property value across multiple neighborhoods. So if you are comparing across multiple neighborhoods in your head, what should come to your mind is, oh, I am going to use ANOVA for this. But in a situation whereby you have just two, what do you use? You make use of your what? Of your t-test. Then another tool is a correlation. Correlation helps to measure what? Relationship between property size and rent. So this has to do with just one property, but with two variables. What are those variables? Oh, the property as it is, and the rent. Oh, do the rent you collect, is it are we shorting ourselves, or we're on the right track? So when you are trying to make that analysis, what are you going to be using? You are going to making use of what? Correlation. Then another tool is what? Regression. So regression, when you want to predict property prices, use was regression. Regression is meant for what? To predict. To predict. Then another tool is chi-square test. Chi-square test. So chi-square test, or this tool help us to determine association between property type and tenancy status. Association between what? Property types and tenancy status. Now, you are now relating the people staying inside with the property. So you are relating the property, you are relating the living with non-living. So in such a situation, what do you use? You use the what? Chi-square test. Chi-square test. Then another area where we use SPSS in graphical presentation. You know, I said it earlier that when using SPSS, the end result is what? It projects visualization. It gives us reports. It gives us what? Presentation, which can be in form of table, which can be in form of what? In form of charts. And in form of charts, we can have our pie chart, bar chart, histogram. We use it also. We use it. Then another one is data transformation. Data transformation. So basically, estate data often need what? Transformation for meaningful analysis. For meaningful analysis, if you want your analysis to be meaningful, SPSS does what? Bring about this. Bring about this. It brings about it. Then the last one is what? Advanced applications. Advanced applications. So in this aspect, then we can now start talking about our factor analysis. Factor analysis, which helps in what? Grouping related properties. We also have cluster analysis. It's also used in what? In grouping also. Then we also have what? Our forecasting. This one helps in what? In predicting. In predicting. In predicting. Now that we've seen all this one, this descriptive analysis that has been explained earlier, the frequency, the central tendency, the distribution of land, the tenant satisfaction, and then for the inferential, these are the tools that are used that I mentioned earlier, the t-test, the ANOVA, the correlation, the regression, and the what, and the chi-square, and the examples are stated here properly. And also for the graphical presentation, I talk about the pie charts, which can be used for land use distribution, the bar chart, which can be used for property demand, the histogram, which can be used for rent distribution, the data transformation. I said earlier that data transformation basically record was in groups. It helps to give your coding meaningful. For example, when you're recording your variables, age in group, grouping property, computing new variables. And in terms of the advanced application, as I said earlier, in factor analysis, it helps in grouping features. It helps in grouping feature, while your cluster analysis helps in what? In categorizing your tenants. Then forecasting, it helps in what? In housing demand and rent trend. So what are the benefits of SPSS? What are the benefits of SPSS? No doubt about it, this software is so efficient that it can accommodate what? A larger data. So efficient, very quick. Before you know it, you've gotten your responses. And in terms of analysis, the analysis is very accurate, very on point, very concise. There is no the error is minimal. The error is minimal. It's also helping what? In decision. The decision support is very high. Is very, very strong. And the presentation it gives is what? Is professional. The presentation it gives is what? Is professional. Very professional. Their display is always what? Is always on point. And also it's flexible. The application is very flexible, which shows that if you want to make any correction, you can do that. If you want to edit anything, you can do it. It's not rigid per se. So after all that has been done, is there any limitation to the use of SPSS? Yes, we have. And the first one we'll be considering is training required. because SPSS is a software and nobody can just come and just dabble into it. You need to be what? You need to be trained. You need to be what? You need to be taught to know how to use what? SPSS perfectly. Perfectly. And you know, I said earlier that it's a software that can't be found anyhow. To acquire it alone is very what? It's very expensive. It's very expensive. In fact, small firms also might not be able to afford it. They won't be able to afford it. And then is flexible, but is less flexible when you are comparing it with other software like Python. Is less what? Flexible, although it's not rigid, but it's less what? Flexible. Then we also have misinterpretation risks. Misinterpretation risks. After might have generated your result for you, you still need to sit down to see, oh, is it presenting it well for me? Do I like the language it's giving me? Or I don't like it. So in a situation whereby you don't like it, you just don't copy and paste whatever it's giving you. You have to go through it yourself to know if there's anywhere you can modify, if there's anywhere you can make what? Make correction. Make correction. We have some case study under that also in terms of housing demand. In terms of housing demand survey, I said this earlier. When you have about 200 household you want to carry survey for, and you have a variable of family size, the income, the houses, and again the presentation that is going to be giving you based on your findings. Whatever you impute there is what is going to give to you. And I said earlier that it's going to be in what? In terms of percentage. Then another case study is your rent determinant. If you want to determine rent, SPSS can help you to do it. If you have 100 rental properties to be studied, you don't even have to crack your head on anything. SPSS is available for you. It's available for you. And we have regression to what? To analyze it. It's a tool for you to analyze your what? Your rent determinant. Before you know it, you have your what? Output already. Then another one, I mentioned this earlier also, in terms of tenant satisfaction. Oh, tenants are satisfied with your services to them. SPSS can be used to what? Generate you can collect data and enter your data into SPSS to know, to even measure your own performance, even as a what? As a property manager. As a property manager, SPSS can use this, and you can use your factor analysis to undergo that. So in conclusion, SPSS helps us to what? Is a valuable tool for estate management. Is a valuable tool for estate managers and property professionals. It helps to what? Simplify every of our analysis in terms of housing survey, property price, land use data. It helps to what? Simplify everything. And it also supports what? Evidence-based decision making. Yes, it will project it for you. It's not something that looks abstract. And this can be used in what? In estate planning, property valuation, and investment. Property valuation and investment. And despite the limitations we have, the mastery of SPSS, the more you know SPSS, the more you become enhanced in efficiency, the more you become enhanced in professionality, and the more it helps you to work to be competitive even among other estate managers. If you can know SPSS, you are better off than any other person, any other property manager. You are better off. So by the time you get to probably 400 level, 500 level, that you start doing your project, SPSS will now start having meaning to you. When you start carrying one research or the other, SPSS will now start with having a good meaning to you. So this is a very fantastic tool for everyone to know. Everyone to know. So there are some questions here that will help you to know if truly you've understood everything that we have discussed today. For example, you should be able to comfortably define what SPSS is and why it is important. And you should be able to know when to use descriptive statistics as an estate manager or as a property manager. And you should be able to cite some examples where you can use regression for in property studies. And after the end of this course or this lecture, you should be able to know the benefit and the limitation of what of SPSS, and also some lessons from the case studies also. You should be able to what? You should be able to know all of them. So in your comfort zone, just go through all these questions, sit down with it and see if you can do what? Justice to it. So this brings us to the end of our class. Thank you very much for listening, and I appreciate you all for viewing. So by God's grace, we'll be meeting next week. Next week, we'll be having a physical class, and then we'll be going through our term paper to see how far we have gone and where we need to improve before we go into our last topic for my own side. So the last topic for my own side. So see you in class by God's grace. Enjoy the rest of your day.